Hi y'all. Today I want to show you how to make one of my secret ingredients, homemade red chili sauce. I make this sauce in big batches and store it in my fridge, and I use it instead of dried chili seasoning. This recipe makes about 2 quarts. I'm using 3.5 ounces of each, chili cascabel, New Mexico, ancho, and negro. You can make this recipe with any of the dried chilies, just as long as you're using about 14 ounces total. This is just my favorite blend of peppers. We're going to start with seeding the peppers. For this task, I find it easier to use the trash can and a pair of scissors. So I just snip off the stem and then open up the pepper and dump the seeds out. Sometimes they're a little sticky. I will, wiggle the pepper around, dump the seeds out. If a few seeds stick around, that's okay, because in the end we will put it through a fine mesh strainer. You're going to do this process for all 14 ounces of the peppers, and as I do it, I'm just placing it into an empty stock pot. When all the peppers have been seeded, you're going to fill the pot with enough water to cover the tops of them. Put the pot on the stove on a medium-high heat. Then we're going to stir in about 3 tablespoons of chicken bouillon powder. After the chicken bouillon is mixed well, cover it with a lid and let it boil for about 30 minutes. Next thing we're going to do is work in small batches, but you're going to use a food processor and fill it as much as you can with a little bit of the liquid along with the peppers. Seal up your processor and put it on high speed and process until it is completely smooth. This usually takes a couple of minutes. Empty the contents of the food processor into another container and continue to work in batches until all the peppers have been processed. Next step, we're going to start with an empty pot and a fine mesh strainer. We're going to work in batches again, taking the processed peppers and putting them through the mesh strainer. I like to use the back of a spoon. We're also going to use any of the leftover liquid that might still be remaining in the pot to help liquefy this so that it'll go through the strainer. We're also going to be using beef consomme. I usually use between 3 and 4 cans. Add the liquid in just a little at a time using the back of the spoon and stirring through to slightly thin the paste. If you pour too much, it's just going to go right through the strainer. So the goal of this is just to thin it out a little bit to help more of the paste get down. It also helps to lift up the strainer from time to time and scrape off the underneath. This process will take a while, so be prepared to spend some time here. It is definitely worth it. When you're finished, you'll be left with nothing but skins and seeds. And then you'll have this beautiful, thick, rich sauce. This next step is optional. I add 1 tablespoon each of salt, garlic powder, and onion powder. Bring that to a boil until all the seasonings are combined. Then lastly, I evenly distribute into 2 1-quart mason jars. This sauce is literally a staple in my fridge, and I use it to make tacos, chili. I put it in refried beans, just anytime I would use chili powder. If you don't save any of my other recipes, this is the one you've got to save. My full recipe is here at the end, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll respond. Thank you for watching.